Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will be discussing on Redis cache. So Redis cache is a very important, you can say, a tool for optimization of any of the web application. Again, Redis can be integrated with any of your application, whether it is Node, Spring Boot, .NET Core, any application, any REST API you want to optimize, you want to make sure that the performance of the application, web application is good. So we use this Redis. So Redis is basically a in-memory cache. So all the information that is stored in Redis is in RAM. So again, you know that RAM is faster as compared to the data that is stored on the disk. Plus it is the moment, again, the value that you want to store, there is a limitation because it is not a full-fledged database. So in order to boost the speed performance of any web application, where you want to have a very good experience of user whenever a user is accessing any web application, a user is accessing any REST API, the response time should be very fast. So in order to boost any web application, we use this Redis. So it is a open source in-memory cache, and it is used to store the frequent access information. So if we talk about a current scenario in which we have a client server architecture, so whenever there is a request from client, it is sent to the server, and server is again connected with a third party database. It can be MySQL, MS SQL, and that again server, database server will be hosted on the same server, or it may be hosted on a different server. So based upon the deployment of the database server, there is a proper mechanism. So client sent a request to the server further request send this request to database, and again in database there is lot of computing. So it may be getting the values from different tables. There will be number of joins, inner join, outer join, full outer join, full join. So whatever computation is being done, after computation it is again returned to the server, and then server passes the full information to the client. So every time whenever there is a request, this particular process is taken care. Now the problem is, every time if the same user is requesting, if the same user is asking for the same data, this full process is to be processed. Now the problem is, if by chance you refresh the page, then again it will go to the server will go to the database, and then database will compute. Again time will be taking while computing, I mean getting the information from the different tables. If it is a document database, again the query, if there is aggregation in the query, so that takes time. So the biggest problem is in terms of the data is consistent, the data that you are getting, again it has all the correct values, but it was taking a lot of time. To make sure that the performance of the application is reduced, we introduced a new concept called Redis. Again, Redis is also a database, but it is not a full-fledged database. It is an in-memory database. It has a separate, it works on a separate port. So, but the good thing is, like, it is within the memory. So now the architecture is changed. First time, whenever there is any request, first time the server will check within its memory, within Redis, whether that information is there in Redis or not. If it is not in Redis, then it will go to the server. It will go to the database server. It will compute everything. Compute means it will do all the calculation and everything. It will come to the server. It will serve the client, and then at the same time the same data will be stored in key value form in your Redis server. So this is a huge improvement. Now, second time, if the user refreshes the page, instead of going to the database server, it will check within its Redis database. If the information is there, you can now see, you can now imagine there will be no computing on the database, because the information that is stored in Redis is already computed. Means whatever join, whatever aggregation, whatever group by query was there, all the process data is there in your Redis. Now the process is very simple. User refreshes the page, request is going to the server is checking in Redis, the information is available in your Redis database, and now that information is served to the client. So the again the long time from your server to the database, that is again cut. Now, and again, this is in your in memory, it is not from any disk or any input output device, it is in memory. And you know that RAM is volatile, plus RAM is very very fast. So in terms of serving the data, RAM is very very fast. So the major issue of performance that many web application, and I'm talking about huge web application where a lot of data is being served, there are a lot of users who are accessing that those web application or REST API. So this is a very important thing. If you enable this Redis, and again, in order to install Redis, it's very simple. You can use Docker to install the Redis, and again there is a port mapping. You can map the port, and then you have this information easily available. And this Redis can be integrated with Node.js. It can be integrated with your Java, Spring Boot. It can be integrated with the .NET Core. So any web application, it is not dependent upon any language, and it is stored in key value pairs. So in terms of, because again it is a database, so again it will have all those different data types that it can store. Just like if you talk about SQL Server, we have varchar, we have char, we have int, so we have float, we have boolean. Similarly, it is also a subset of a database, but again it is a document database in which it is not storing anything in rows and columns. It will be a key value pair. So we will have string, then again all the collection data types, or you can say advanced data types. In collection, like you know that we have list, we have set, we have hash, we have maps. So all those, because again more or less whenever we are working on some big application, the data is not simple. So we are not expecting any string value to be returned from the database. So it is always from the query. So it is always some complex data type, advanced data type. It may be list. So and again list, we have, if you talk about Java, we have list as the interface, and based upon the list we have stack, we have queues, we have linked list. And again we have certain operations, we have certain ways through which we can manipulate, because again if we have a list, if we want to add something, we will have some methods like lpop, lpush. So if you want to push anything, you can use L, means list push, list pop. If you want to remove anything, if you want to have any index, so you can get this. So again similarly, if you want to put anything in set, as you know set is again advanced data type in which it doesn't include any duplicate. All the data in set is unique, and the way values are added, it is not similar to list, because in list the way the values are added, it is that they are stored in the same format, same precedence. But in case of set, it is the index of the set is automatically decided by set. But the good thing is that it doesn't store any duplicate value. And we have also sorted set, in which all the values, if you want to make sure that the values are in a sorted manner, either in ascending or descending, so we can do that. So the main thing is like this is a database, it has all those data types that are required to store the data. And in accessing also, again if you want to access, you have the command line tool, plus we have a Redis stack also. So just for your practice purpose, if you want to see how the data is being stored, how you can get the data, you have a graphical user interface through which you can access everything using Redis stack. So Redis is command line. Redis stack is again a graphical user interface where you can see how the key value pairs are being stored. So very important thing. And whenever there is any performance issue in your application, I'm talking about your web application or when your REST API, your microservices. So you should go with Redis. It's an open source, and again, if you have basic understanding of any document database, this Redis is it will be very easy for you to learn. So friends, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching this video.